There we go. Okay, so this is our March meeting of the German gig, and we're going to be talking about German church records today. And so I'm going to share my screen and talk to you about a couple resources that are available. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So you should see the screen here for the Family History Guide. And the Family History Guide is a great resource for doing a lot of different things. Learning how to use Family Search, Ancestry, MyHeritage, Find My Past, and many other things. But we're going to go down to the countries and go to Central Europe and then click on Germany. And so when we go into here, they give ideas on German research, and you can see archives and libraries. The third one here is churches and cemetery records. So I'm going to click on that, and we're going to go right to the lessons for German church and cemetery records. And as you scroll down, these provide guidance on how to do your research and what sort of information you're going to find. You can see here it says learn to use German church, religious, and cemetery records. And they have links to the Family Search Wiki for German church records. They have a talk on German church records from Family Search at RootsTech. It's an hour-long talk. This is from 2018. You can see there's German church records and how to use them on Family Search. So another link out here. And then you can see here, this is one to Ancestry Academy. So this is the educational line for Ancestry, and it's finding and using German church records. So it's a little 7-minute video here. And you can keep going down. It gives you all sorts of great information on how to use different sites. Like here is Archeon. And Archeon is the website for Protestant church records or Evangelic church records. And you can see there's a 6.5-minute video on using Archeon. And there's some things from the Family Tree Maker on German church records at Archeon. There's also some records for information on how to use Pomeranian church records. And you can see there's a link here to a video from Family Search. It's a little 5-minute video here on German church records and civil records for Pomeranian. You can go down and there's some things on German church parish records. So here is Family Search. There's a map to the parish records, part 1 and part 2. Then you see German church records and beyond, another hour-long record here from Family Search. And then you come into Jewish records. And so you can see these Jewish records are popping up here. And then if you go down a little further, there are some links to Ancestry, Lutheran baptism, marriage, and burials. 3 different links here. And if I click on one of those links, it's going to open up Ancestry's databases for that set of records.
Oh.
Okay, so you can see here it's German Lutheran baptism, marriage, and burial records. And you're in that area where you can search your names here. Okay. So you see there's 3 different ones there. Then you have exploring German cemetery records. And of course, the cemetery records are on Find a Grave or Billion Graves. Okay. There is also, though, a link here to German war graves indexes. So this would be World War I and World War II. And if you click on this, this is going out to MyHeritage. And so you could go in here and search the MyHeritage database for German military records or military burials. And the interesting thing about this one is that they have all of those, large national cemeteries that German military casualties would be buried in. And so you might be looking at cemeteries in Russia or Poland or Austria or Italy or France when you do that. And then down below, we have the different states in Germany. So I'm going to click on the Baden-Württemberg here, and it's going to open up information in the Family Search Wiki. Okay, so you can see all of the different states. There's Alsace-Lorraine, Baden-Württemberg, Bavaria, Brandenburg, and so on. Okay, so these give you basic information about the history of the states, the formation of the states, the maps for the areas, and so on. But I'm not going to go into that one. I'm going to show you how I use the Family Search Wiki here in just a second. So, you know, this is a good starting place if you just want to learn the basics of how to research different sets of records for different countries. And I'm just using, you know, this as the German church and cemetery records as an example, but you can see there's civil registration, immigration and immigration, military, maps and gazetteers, newspapers, websites, search records, and geoculture and history. So, okay. So this is the Family History Guide, or thefhguide.com if you're looking for it. I'm going to go over to the Family Search Wiki, and the Family Search Wiki is always a great place to do, you know, to get background information and to learn about resources that are available. So I started out in Germany. Okay. So this is the Germany genealogy page, and it's got a lot of great information, and it has the states down here. And I'm going to go to the states in just a second. But notice what's over here on the right-hand side. So things like beginning research, record finder, family origins, German word lists, Latin word lists, French word lists, handwriting, languages, script tutorials. So these are all here to help you read the records. And then you have record types. And so I'm going to go down here to the church record. But you can see there's Jewish and lands and town genealogies and a lot of other types of records down here. And there's also church directories, church histories. So these are background information here. But I'm going to go to the church records. And this is going to open up the church records for Germany as a whole. And you can see the table of contents here. So you can find things like baptisms, marriage, burials, confirmations, family registers, parish registers, you know, online availability, Catholic and Protestant records, former German areas. These are things like Lithuania and Poland, areas that are outside of Germany currently, but had previously been part of Germany.
Right.
Evangelical, Lutheran, Protestant records, Catholic records, and so on. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. You can see it talks about duplicate church records. Okay. And so you have the original church records and you have the duplicates. So the original church records were held at the church in the parish offices. The duplicates were copies of those that were then sent on to other archives so that, you know, in case of war or fire or some sort of other disaster, the originals wouldn't be lost. The thing is, though, the duplicate records, they have all of the entries, but they don't have all of the information. So you may find in an original, you may find some side notes that are written in the edge of the paper, and those may not have been copied in the duplicate files. Then when it talks about baptism, it talks about what kind of information you would tend to find in those records. Okay, the infant's name, the parents' names, legitimacy, witnesses, baptism dates, maybe the child's birth date. A lot of times they didn't put the child's birth date, they put the baptism date in. So, you know, you may not have the birth date. Sometimes they'll have the father's occupation, the place of residence, death information, you know, so if the child died, they would have a little cross there with maybe a date along with it. And as it says here, just because it has a cross doesn't imply that the child died young. They could have died at 70 years old, but they went back to the baptism record and put the little cross in there indicating that the person had died. And so you want to look at that and see. I've even found in the baptism records their marriage dates in there. So some really good references that allow you to go back and find the marriage date now and then find the other information, because the marriage records usually have the place of birth, you know, or may have the place of birth. So you can see here, you know, you may get all of this information, the birth dates and places, the ages, residence, occupation, parents' names. Then you had the marriage bans or proclamations. And so they had to be advertised several times before they, were allowed to get married. And the burial information, the things you might find in the burial information, and the confirmations. So, when they were 14 or in the Protestant church, or 12 in the Catholic church, you had confirmations. So you may find groups of individuals listed in the confirmation list. And that gives you an idea of approximate ages for those individuals. So now you can go back, 12 years or 14 years to try to find them in previous records. And you may also find these family registers, which are basically the church census records. So it lists the whole family that would have been living in that church, and any updates or additional information that may be there. You may also find these parish genealogies or these Ortsippen books. And so those might be in your church records also. So of course, in order to locate these church records, you have to know where they lived. Just knowing that they were from Baden-Württemberg doesn't help you a whole lot. You have to know the town that they were in Baden-Württemberg, or the general location. And remember, we've talked about Meyer's Gazetteer previously. And if you type in the name of the town, it will tell you where the nearest church records are. It'll tell you, here are the nearest Catholic parishes. Here are the nearest Lutheran parishes. Here are the nearest Jewish congregations. So that, even if your town might not have a church in it, you can get an idea of which churches in the area you might want to focus your search on. Now, the best thing down here is this online availability table. So you can find your diocese and figure out where that record might be. So like the Diocese of Augsburg, Family Search has some of those records, and Matricula has some of those records. You can go down to Hamburg, and you see that there are no records for Hamburg listed in these major websites. So this will give you a good starting point. And this is for Catholic. And then we go down to the Protestant, and you can see Baden, Archeon has those records. Okay. And there's some stuff in the Family Search catalog, but it's not very good. You see for Berlin, Ancestry has some, Archeon has some. So this will give you an idea based on your parish or your diocese or your regional church. Now, how do you know which regional church or diocese you are? Down here is your map. So you can see your regional church diocese. This is the Catholic directory, and this is the Protestant directory. So if I go down here, I can click on Bavaria, and this will open up, whoops. So this would open up where it's supposed to be. I should have picked one that's there. I'm going to go over here to Freiburg for the Catholic Church records. And you see now I'm in the Catholic Church archives for Freiburg. Okay. So if you know the location, now you see in the diocese archives, you can click on these different archives here, and get more information on it. But I'm going to show you another route that you can go into. Whoops, I now have to go back over to the church records again. Go back down to the maps. So you see the provinces here. There's some stuff about inventories, family search records, and so on. But they also have this thing in here. If you can't find your records online, here is the German letter writing guide. So you can actually use this guide to help write letters or to write emails. And so I wrote one parish an email, and they said, well, we don't have that record. That record is over here. And so they gave me the email address for the place where that record is currently held. So, they'll help you out to find that information. You can see down here, the word lists, the script lists, and so on are all down here also. And then you have all of these handouts that you can download. So, how to know days and months, the numbers. This is really important because they did not write the numbers in, they wrote them out in words as opposed to numbers in many cases. And so to be able to find the 21st of March, you got to be able to read what 21 is, how it's written.
When you're at a breaking point, I just have another little printout to do it. It's not urgent.
Okay.
Okay.
So I want to show you an example here of Baden. And if I click on Baden, it's going to open up the page for the Baden Empire Church records. So now I've gone directly into the Baden page on Family Search, and I can get information on baptisms, marriage, burials, and so on. But then it tells me how to find the church records. So now it's giving me web pages that are going to help me find those records. Okay. And so if I'm going to go to this one here, anybody familiar with the Gen Wiki page? This is a great web page for German genealogy. It's actually the German genealogy website is what it is. And so the German Genealogy Society builds this web page and has the information. So you can see here, now I've got the Baden Kirchenbuch. So this is, whoops. I got to get the right say, I can go to the next page. And so this book is written, to help you find your German records. Well, the problem is it's written in German.
But I think it looks like.
So you're going to have to be able to read this. But this is basically, going to tell you how to find the German records in this set of records here.
Does it let you download that document?
Yeah, so this is actually it's a deja vu file, and you can go in and I think you can download the whole book.
The reason I'm asking is if you can download the book to be able to view it,
Yeah.
at least on my Mac, I can then copy paragraph at a time and then just copy it into a translator.
Yeah. So yeah, you just have to go down here and look for it. I think you can, I've done it before. I've downloaded. I just have to figure out where the button is. So, you actually, there's file versions here. No, that's the same page. Let's see. There I just did. I just downloaded it.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay. So yeah, so go back to the Gen Wiki page again. I'm gonna get back out of these. So there's going to be various different bits of information in here. You can see there's links out here, but there's also more pages up in here. And you want to also look at in the meta search here, you can type in your surnames, you can type in the town names, and it'll give you the information. And I'm looking for the other, where is it? Oh, the OFBs. So these are the Orts family book, and you can see in Baden, you can see the towns where there's a family book that's been worked on. And what people are doing is they're going in and creating these books based on the church records. So you can actually search in these complete list of surnames in this book. And so you see the surnames by alphabetical order. And then you can click on your surname and get the names that were in that church. And it gives you the information that was on those pages. Okay, so this is genealogy.net is the web page. And it's a great resource if you're doing German research. I'm going to go back down here. And you notice down here it says online church records. So there's Archeon, the Lutheran records for Baden. Notice it's a pay site. And then you have the Landesarchives Baden-Württemberg, and you have the Northern States Archives for Karlsruhe and the Southern State Archives for Freiburg. Okay. Now, I know that my wife's ancestors are in the Karlsruhe archives. So I can click on that and it will open up the state archives for me. Now the state archives are free to view. Now what I have to do is figure out which district they were in. Okay. And I know that my wife's family were in the Forsheim district because I know which town they were in. So I can click on Forsheim. And now I see a list of 157 books, record sets. Okay. Now this is for the town of Boschlot. And then Bilfingen and, so on and so forth. Buchenbronn. Well, I know the town that they lived in. So I'm going to type in the town and do my search. And now you see I'm just in the Elmendingen records for her town. And then it tells me these are the state's archives, number 3759, period 1810 to 1870, or 1875 to 1775 to 1875. Protestant community, Standesbuch, 1810 to 1841, So this gives me an idea of which book I'm looking at. Okay. So again, these are the Protestant records. And you see there's several of these sets of records down here. Okay, so it comes up with 5 hits. So let's just pretend this is the one I want. I'm going to go to view digital copies. And now I have all of the pages sitting here that I can look at. Okay, so I'm going to go to this page here and just see what year I'm in. You see it says registry 1810 to 1841. And I can go in, and now I'm looking at this record for January 30th, 1810. And you see the names here. They usually put the last name over here in this corner. And there's Augenstein. Wow, that's a good one. I just randomly picked one. So this is my wife's family, Augenstein, right here. You can see that this record is from 27 July. And you see there's a little bit more information here. This is born. Okay. And then you see 28th. So this is probably the birth date, 27 July. And then the Gestalt. So this is probably the baptism date, 28. You see the name here. Okay. I don't recognize that name, but it is Augustine. You see here, there are other members of the family listed here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice here you have a little cross and it says 18 September. So this is a death date for this individual. So I would have to go in and, read through all of these names to figure out exactly what record this one is. Like I said, I just randomly chose one. Let's see, I'm going to go to the next page. And so you can keep going in. Yeah, so this must be the town, I'm guessing, because it's the same word on every one of these. Well, that looks like Wilhelm, maybe. This looks like Magdalena.
Yeah.
This is Gottfried. This is Margareta. Again, you have the last names over here. What I usually do is I just scroll through these and look for that name. I'm looking for that surname that I'm interested in. So I can go in and say, yep, that's the surname I'm interested in. That's Augustine. This is the person I'm going to look for. So yeah, I guess that is a first name. But that's what you would do in here. So the great thing is These are all Lutheran church records, and if you were using Archeon, you were going to pay for those to see them. But I'm actually accessing them through the Baden-Württemberg archives for the area that I'm interested in. I can go in and pick another, another set of copies. And let's see what I'm looking at here. This is 1824 to 1841. I'm just going to pull up the page again. And you can see this is a different set of records now. So different format to it. And again, you're just looking for, familiar names as you go through these. I think these might be marriage records, just based on the way that they're laid out. And you can always go in here, you grab the permanent link. This link will take you to it. So I always use these when I reference this, like I'm entering this data in Family Search and it asks me, what's the reason? I always say, church record, blah, blah, blah. Here's the permanent link so that anybody accessing that record can now get to this record and see it automatically. So yeah, you can do this. I can look in the Freiburg records, or I can go back to the previous records here. I can do the same thing for, any of the different states. I can go to Lippe and go down through here, online records, books, Archeon, Matricula, Jewish records for these locations. And then different websites down here. So always look to see what's available for you to access. And, hopefully it'll send you to the free records so you don't have to pay for them.
Yay.
In my case, almost all of my relatives are Catholic. And so I spend a lot of time on Matricula. Now there's a couple ways you can search Matricula. You can't search by surname. Okay, so that's not possible. But you can search by, I usually use this one for the maps. And so now we have the maps of Germany, and you can see all of the dots. Okay, so all of the dots are where the records are currently online. So if you look down here in Luxembourg, there's a whole pile of them. Okay. If you look over here in Belgium, there's only one. You look down here in Austria, there's a bunch. Okay. You go over here a little further in Poland, there's only a few. And then when you look at Germany, you have the area of northern Germany and then a little bit in the southern Germany. Well, luckily for me, most of my family's from up here. So I can scroll in, I can look for the location where I'm interested in and find it, or I can type in the town. So I'm going to type in Borglo, which is a small town, and hit search. And now I've centered in on Borglo, and I can zoom out of it and I can see the other churches in the area. But notice I have 2 points here. I click on that one, nothing happens. I click on this one and it's the church. So sometimes you'll end up with this little pin in here and you'll be like, oh, darn, I don't have a church. Well, then you want to zoom out and see if there's another church in the area. Okay. Or you go to Myers Gazetteer, you type in the town and you see what churches are in the area and then you search those towns. But so I'm looking here at St. Pancratius as the church. So this is the Catholic Church. This is what the church looks like today. There's Myers Gazetteer with the map. So you see what the area looked like in the 17 or 1870s. You also get a little history of the church. So you see that this church was first mentioned in 1160 with the accounts of Ravensburg. In 1266, it was mentioned as a parish of Borglo. In 1924, it was, so there's Wellendorf, St. Barbara was another church that came off of this one. So there was a split. You can see the different churches in the area. So there's Wellendorf, Hiltler, Diesen, and Rothenfeld. And then you can go in and see the registers are from 1682 to 1920, 134 books. So I can narrow this down. If I'm only interested in looking at the churches from this period, I can narrow it down and just find those. Or I can, widen it out and search all of them. I can go in and just look for funeral or burial books, marriage, baptisms. I don't like to do this because some of these books are combined. And if you just look for one of them, you're not going to find them. But I can scroll down here and I can see all of these baptismal books. Okay. And I scroll down. These are all baptismal books. I go on the next page. Baptismal index. That's what I want, but that's only good for 1787 to 1803. So only a small bit is indexed. There's the marriage books. Now you see the marriage indexes from 1787 to 1787. You then see the funerals. Whoops. Try that again. There we go. So the funeral books and then the funeral indexes. Then see down here, there are some baptism, marriage, and funeral index books from 1785 to 1751. So what they did was they combined all their index books. So make sure you look for your index books, okay? You have the little camera. This allows you to view the images. And then notice over here, their alphabetical order. So I know that my family is here. And look, there's my family, the Westerheide family right there.
Oh, that's nice.
So I'm going to go in and there's my index and I scroll down. Here are all the pages that my Westerheide family is located on.
Wow. Oh, boy.
Now, remember, this is the baptism, marriage, and funeral books. So it doesn't tell me if this is page 6 in the baptism book, the marriage book, or the funeral book. I have to go through all of the books to figure out which page each of these are on. Okay. But this is really good because I'm going to assume that maybe these are on the baptism page 6. Okay, so I'm going to go back out to the books here. And I'm going to go to baptisms. And page 6 will probably be at the beginning. Here's page 6, I hope. I don't know if they're on here or not, but this is actually well written. I can actually read all of these names. So I'm not seeing Westerheide right off the bat, but that doesn't mean they're not here. But you see here's like Johann Everhard.
And so they're not writing those names in old German script.
This is just a really good priest. There's Katharina Maria. And let's see, the daughter of Henrius and Elizabeth Wegman is there. I can't read that last name, so there's a name there. So yeah, Johann Wilhelm, son of Wilhelm, and Elizabeth Kottman. I know her last name. So this is, these are really good records. And you notice the dates here, September. I'm going to go back out. I'm going to pull up a little bit later book. Let's see. Notice these are only a couple years. So this is only 1751, February through December. So there's only a few months in this book. And it's only 3 pages long. So I'm going to go to the 3rd page here. So Johann Everhard, Johann Conrad Kemp, Maria Elizabeth Lavingsford. So, pretty good writing here in this case. Here's an interesting one. Bernard Heinrich, illegitimate son of Clara Elizabeth Myers. So, it'll tell you. So natus or illegitimate. And of course, in that case, they won't tell you, most likely. So really nice, really nice sets of books that they've done here in Matricula. You can find your towns, search through them, and get out of the baptisms. And go into the marriages, even some more recent things up into the 1900s.
Wow.
So of course you have to know what the columns are.
Yeah.
This, this is the husband. This is his birth date, his birth town. These are his parents, their birth towns and occupations. This is the wife. This is her birth date and her birth town. And then these are her parents.
Did you look at the one underneath?
Yeah. Oh, there's the Wester Heidi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johann Heinrich.
Johann Heinrich Wester Heidi from Wellendorf, born 29 October 1883 in Wellendorf. His father, Johann Matthias Wester Heidi from Wellendorf, and born in Reisdorf. And then his wife, Maria Elisabeth Meyer, from, believe maybe Falsen. Yeah, probably from Falsen. I have to look that one up. 7 July 1881, born in Felsen. Yeah, that is. Okay. And then her parents.
Matthias Meyer.
Yeah, Matthias Meyer and from Felsen. And
Susanna?
I don't know. But then the marriage was in Wellendorf. These are the bands. So this is the announcements, 9, 16, and 23rd of March. And then the marriage was on the 26th of March in Borglo. And then these are the witnesses. So there's Franz Wester Heidi and one of the Myers. And this is he's from Hardenberg and she's from Felsen. And then the date of filing, I believe. So a lot of really good information there, really nicely written record. Okay. So I want to move over to Archeon. Archeon's a little bit more difficult. You can buy passes here, and I'll show you what the passes look like. So for 1 month is 19 or 20 euros. A 3-month pass is 52 euros. Now I got to read these because, this gives you 3 months of searching and up to 50 downloads. Okay. The 3-month pass gives you 3 months of searching and up to 150 downloads. So what you have to realize though, these are 3 months, 90 days, you start on day 1 and at 90 days from that, you're done. So, you want to make sure you do your research. You don't buy this pass and then go in 1 week and then go 3 weeks later and then go again in a couple of weeks. There's a 1-year pass that allows you up to 600 downloads. And then there's a 20-day allotment. So these are 20 individual days within a year. Now notice that it's more expensive than a 3-month pass. But if you're only going to go in and out when you have the need for it, this is probably a better deal. And again, this is 50 downloads. So this is a day is 24 hours from login. So if you log in at 6 p.m. one night, you have till 6 p.m. the next day to use that. So you can browse. And when you browse, you have to know your district again. So I'm just going to go to Baden. And you see here, I have to go down to Karlsruhe. Oh, there it is. So here are the Karlsruhe records. I want to check, see if there's P. Just looking for P here real quick. There it is. Okay, so here's my Forsheim records that I was interested in. And I have to figure out which group Elmendingen was in, and I don't know right offhand. So I'm just going to pick one. So now you see the town or the record sets here. And if I click on those record sets, it's going to tell me the dates those record sets are available. And if I want to go to here to view it, it's going to tell me I don't have permission because I don't have an account. But I was able to access all of those in the Bonn archive anyway, so I didn't have to worry about it. So then we have areas that are outside of Germany. And this is the easyab.de website. So this is the Evangelisch Central Archives in Berlin. And so these are 6,000 Protestant parish registers from the former Prussian provinces. So this is East Prussia, West Prussia, Pomerania, Posen, Poland, Russia, Lithuania, all of this area. So if you're looking for your German ancestors that were in Poland, this is where you want to go. Now notice it says search our parish registers. And if I click on that, now I get all of the different towns. Okay. And so now you can click on your town. However, our search function is currently not functioning. So their webpage is broken currently. So, but this webpage is out there. So if you have those Protestant records that you're looking for, the German Protestant records in Poland and Lithuania and Russia, the areas that were previously Prussia, this is the website you would want to use. I don't know how long the site's been down or when they plan on fixing it. But it is here, and there are other archive areas within this that you can access. And I have not played with it much, but you can go in, look in their online research, their online catalog, and see what's what they may have in this record set. So. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. We'll go back to our group here. Any questions on church records? Like I said, the first thing you want to do is go in and learn what the church records are. So use the family history guides, German records instruction, the family search wiki to learn more about the records. Start using the links that are there and find those records that are in the church archives. Again, remember to use Meyer's Gazetteer, type in the name of your town, and then go to the ecclesiastical tab on that and see which towns the church parishes were in, so that you can find them more easily when you do the searches. If you're Catholic, use the Matricula website and see if you can find the towns there. Just you search in the map and see if the town shows up or what's nearby. If you're Evangelisch or Protestant Lutheran, you want to use Archeon or try accessing it through some of the state's archives collections where you're going to find the duplicate books. So, and learn how to read German.
Yeah. Right.
Somebody posted on Facebook the other day, I feel sorry for those children today who are not learning how to read cursive. How are they ever going to read these records? And I said the same way that I've learned how to read 18th century German church records, trial and error.
Yes.
So it's not impossible. It's difficult, but not impossible. Unless you have a really beautiful one like the one I just pulled up there with the Westerheady on it.
Yeah.
So,
Now, there used to be a Facebook page
translator.
Translations,
Yeah.
and apparently the head of the page got irked with so many rude complaints. And
Yes.
has anyone heard if a new page like that has appeared?
No, but you can go into like the Baden-Württemberg page. And if your research is in that location, there are some people there that will help you.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, what I did test out is, and if you may find this if you go into Family Search or into the Roots Tech website, there is a talk about computer assisted indexing. And when you go to the page where that video is located, there is a link there to a computer assisted indexing website that they're using for a beta site, where you
Wow.
can upload the German handwritten text and it will try to translate it. It will try to transcribe it for you, and then you can translate it. I haven't had too good of luck because the German handwriting is so variations across the records. But I have had a little bit of luck in it, finding a few words and then being able to fill in some of the blanks. The website is beta. It's out there because they do have another one in Roots Tech that was working on Spanish records. And they actually show you how it looks at the records and says, oh, this block of text goes together. And this piece is the date. And this piece is the parents. And this piece is the location. And it breaks it all out and it color codes it. Dates are in yellow, places are in blue, and people are in red. And it lays it all out and shows you how to do it. Again, that's another one of the presentations in Roots Tech demonstrating the handwriting recognition. In the English handwriting recognition, they say is 95% accurate currently. The other ones are a little bit less, but they're working on them. And what that means is that once they get to a point where they're comfortable with the computer assisted indexing, they're just going to start indexing the records by computer. And, one computer can do more than one person, and one computer in one day can do more than one person in a lifetime on the indexing. So Family Search just added 2 million new German church records to their database last month.
Wow.
So that was just posted earlier this week, actually.
Have you heard if I visited a part of the former East Germany and was told by the pastor at the Lutheran church that back 20, 30 years ago, they were not allowing LDS to come look at any church record.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know if that barrier has fallen?
In some cases.
Okay.
But that's where Archeon comes in, because Archeon is a German group. And so they work directly with the districts in getting those records online. And let me take a quick look here. Let's see. I'm just going to check something if I have it. Archeon just sent me a notice recently. News from Archeon. There it is. So let's see. See what they have here. This is earlier this year, so this isn't the current one. Let's see. Control C. I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to put it in the text. So this is what Archeon was looking at currently. So Rhineland archives 100 church records from different locations. They added another one, for Kassel, they added another 200 records. In North the Rendsburg, Eckernford region, they added 600 new records. And then they're talking about where they're moving next for Falls and Eisenbach, Braunschweig is the next area they're going to start adding records. So yeah, they send out monthly notices on all the new records and new parishes that they've added on the Archeon website.
Wow.
And you can track them on Facebook too. You can go to Archeon's group on Facebook and they'll post all of the new information that's being added. So you can see if there's anything useful there that you might want to get a 20-day subscription or a 1 month or something like that. Any other questions?
Thank you.
I spend a lot of time in these German church records. I mean, I go through just page by page and try to find just records that I'm looking for in a lot of cases. Not every church has a nice index. Like I showed you for Borglo, they have a nice index, but other church parishes don't. So you'll have to, you have to go through it. But the really great thing was you saw that the one record I pulled up had a death date on it. Now I can go to funeral records for that date and I can find that funeral record and I can pull that also and add it to them. And so I do a lot on Family Search where I add these families together and then I add that the link to the matricular records so people can then click on those and go see the actual document. In case I've mistranslated it, maybe I grabbed the wrong date or something like that and put it in the wrong location. Sometimes that happens. So Family Search has a lot of really good collections. If you do a surname search and you search Germany, they will pull up. I'll do that as a demonstration here once real quick. I'm going to go back out and go to Family Search. Go up to the top here, go to Family Search. I'm going to search search records. And I'm going to put in my Westerheide, put in the location, Germany, and when this search comes up, you can do more things with it. If I go down to, I can go into here, residence place, and I can just pick Germany. I can do the same thing with marriage, birthplace. I can do the same thing with residence here. So you see this comes up with 88,000. Don't worry about that 88,000. That's not real because that's names that sound like it. But you look here, German Lutheran baptism records. There's an image right there. This is German baptism, birth and baptism records. This one doesn't have an image. Okay. So if I click on this image, I'll see the church record. Now, some of these may be restricted records. You can only see them at the Family History Center or something like that. But now I can go through here and I can find the Westerheide record. Notice the great printing here. This one took me a little while to actually find the Westerheide in this page because it's not an easy text to read. And I'd have to go back through it a couple times. It took me a couple times going through it to figure out where it was. But going back, you also see that it has the little page. And so if I click on the little page, then I get the text records here, what the record means. And so I have a birth date, I have a baptism date, I have a location, I have the parents, and I could see if there's an image. But it also gives me, here are some other records in these church records. So here's potentially her marriage record, and here's potentially another baptism record. So these might be her kids' records. I could go into those and look at those. Let's just see if the marriage record is an image or not. So this case here, it says I have to browse the film. So I'd have to go in there and find the page associated with it. But now look, it's giving me a whole bunch of other records because this is her marriage to Ludwig Erich Melman. And so now here are her records potentially with her married name, Melman. And then these are probably her children's baptism records. And you can see here, this is her husband and their daughter, Maria Sophia Christina Melman. And now I can go see those records. So notice that all of these have a little tree next to them. That means I've already created the family tree associated with these people. And if I go into that, now I see her information, her spouses, her parents, all of her children. And those I pulled off of those records. I just built them off of those records as the hints came up. Right over here, the hints would show up and I could use those to build the resource. And you see, I used 48 different sources to build her family tree.
Wow.
And all of those came out of those church records. Notice they were all done starting in November, but our 2014, I started some of these, but all of these 2021s I added. Somebody else did some in 2016. So you can see just finding these church records, you can build the tree, expand the tree very easily for your ancestors.
If you had a source from, say, Archeon or Matricula, how hard is it to copy that source into here?
So if I went over to the Borglo record, let's just say this record here, I have an icon up here that says Record Seek. Okay, so if you download the Record Seek app to Chrome, if I click on this, this is going to allow me to attach it to Family Search or to Ancestry on my account. And then it's going to ask me who the person was. I then go back, I grab their PID number, this number right there. And so I'm going to go back. I lost it. Hold on a second. I'm going to say Family Search. It's going to ask me to log in. It then asks me the information. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Notice it gives me the web page for it right here. And then basic information. I can describe the source here. I can transcribe it or do whatever I want here. And I hit next. And then I type in the person's PID number right there. And when I hit next, it says, what do I attach this to? This is a marriage license, so I attach it to marriage, but it also has her birth date and location. So I can type birth date, I can type parents, I can click all of those little buttons, and then that adds that source to your record in Family Search or to Ancestry. And then that becomes one of these 35 sources or 33, different sources for these different types of records. So it's Record Seek. And if you go to recordseek.com, you see this little green button right there. I just grab that little green button, I drag it and I put it on my menu bar and I drop it in Chrome. It works on any of these browsers. So you can drag the button up to any of these browsers to make your bookmark, and then you're set. Any page you go to, if you go to somebody's funeral home that has a funeral announcement on it, you highlight the text that's there, and then you click the Record Seek button and you tell it who to attach to. It takes all of the text you just highlighted and attaches it to the person.
Oh,
That's amazing.
See, another bonus hint, right?
now if that text was cursive like German script,
So image text, no. It has to be somebody typed in it on the web page.
but
So
does Family Search allow you to paste an image as a
Yes.
source?
Yes. So if
Okay.
I cut that image, I could then paste it into my memories as a record.
Oh, through memories. Okay.
So it'll be a document in memories. And then I can attach all of the people that are there, the parents, the children, the spouses.
Mhm.
I can then highlight or tag each of those so that that record shows up on all of their records. So that for the parents, it proves that that child, that was their child. For the spouse, it proves the spousal relationship. For a child, it provides a parental relationship. So you want to tag it to everybody that you have that record references. And I just used the snippet tool to do that. So I can just grab that one piece of record and bring it right in. And then I'll link in the description. I'll put the URL for where that came from, the permalink for it, so that anybody can then click on that link and go see the actual document. Okay, so how's everybody? They're good with their German church records now?
I learned a lot.
Just have to be able to read them.
Yep, thank you.
I may have to go back and do the German Schrift page and show you guys all the different fonts that they use, so you can type in the names again. I don't know the last time I did that. It's been a while, probably.
Yeah.
So, okay. Any other questions? I do need to figure out what I'm telling you guys next month, right? So let me go in and figure out what we're talking about next month,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
or see if I talked about the right thing this month.
You did.
Yeah, I did. That's good. That's good.
You did.
Let's see. I got to get into my pages here and German and the syllabus. So let's see, April. Let's see, loading in here. Yep, April is our ancestors' lives. So
Ooh.
I want you to bring your stories about your ancestors' occupations, their names, you know, how their names were derived. We're going to talk about the occupations in particular, but want you to bring in stories, anything you know about your ancestors, how the name was derived, what they did, where they lived, and I'll have a list of occupations. You know, everybody knows Cooper and Miller and all of those fun things, but we hope to have some good German names for occupations. So,
Yes.
okay. Any last questions before we sign
No,
off? for the
thank
day?
you very much for this.
Thanks.
Thank
Lauren.
you. It was very good.
Okay, well, we'll see you guys next month. Remember, the same bat channel, same Zoom link. And